Good evening and welcome to the fourth meeting of the 14th Council of the Town of Happy Valley Goose Bay. I'd like to ask for somebody to move to adopt the agenda, please.
So moved.
Moved by Councillor Williams, seconded by Deputy Mayor Compton Hobbs. Any discussion? None being heard, call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None against? Motion carried. We have no delegations here today, but I want to welcome one of our regulars, hopefully, will be here in the chambers from now on, Mr. Hamel. Thank you for coming. Correspondence is there for council's review. We'll move into the adoption of previous minutes. Call for a motion for the adoption of the second minutes, October 28th, 2025.
So moved.
Moved by Councillor Dyson, seconded by Councillor Rumble. Any discussion? None being heard. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None against. Motion carried. Adoption of previous minutes, third minutes, November 18th, 2025. Call for a mover, please.
So moved.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Compton
Second.
Hobbs, seconder.
Second.
Second by Councillor Lori Dyson. All in favor? Any discussion? No discussion? No discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
None against. Motion carried. Okay, so we'll move right into
Adoption of our next minutes.
committees.
Mayor,
What's that?
adoption of the third minutes.
Third minutes, number 2 you missed.
Oh, maybe I'm looking at a...
4-2.
The special meeting, November 18th.
Yeah, that's the third minutes, November 18th, 2025.
Is that the one you just did?
We just did
I
that
thought we
one.
did one.
No, we just did that one. That was Harry. So we'll move into the committee updates or reports. First committee, Finance Administration and Policy Committee. Councillor Rumble, please.
Thank you, Mayor. This month, during the Committee of a Whole meeting, Council was presented with a revised Code of Conduct for municipal officials. The CAO advised Council to read carefully and bring any questions or comments forward, as we will be voting on the new draft at the next Council meeting. A recommendation will follow. We have many uncollectible accounts that were presented to Council for review before writing off. These accounts have been deemed uncollectible following due diligence by the town's administration. Approval of these write-offs will enhance the accuracy of the town's financial statements. It is important to note that a write-off is not a forgiveness of debt. If payment is later received, it will be recorded as recovered revenue. I have many recommendations to follow. We received a request for a property tax exemption from the Housing and Homelessness Coalition through the Policy F0009 application process. A recommendation will follow. This item prompted discussion as to why these exemption requests come to Council for a vote when the criteria is met through the application process and it is not discretionary. The CAO investigated this process for Council and later advised that this is due to the Towns and Local Service District Act, and as such, a vote must occur. We received a request from property owner for interest relief on 3 residential properties, as the resident stated he did not realize his financial institution was not paying his property tax on his behalf. A recommendation is to follow. This month in the Finance Department, managers provided reports showing the account receivables to date, the donations to date, and the low-income relief program. We received a report from the Manager of Corporate Services detailing his monthly activities, which included interviewing for staff vacancies, group insurance, pension admin, and improving the records and policy management systems. He has also worked on updating insurance quotations, code of conduct, and access to information. Work is being done to develop proficiency in the eScribe software, which should enhance meeting management and efficiency. The manager has supported policy and records digitization by organizing shared drives and streamlining document storage, and begun standardizing templates to support efficient functions. We now look ahead to the budget process, and Council will be working closely with finance staff as we establish priorities and prepare for the year ahead. I would like to make a motion that you accept my report as presented.
So moved. Do we have a seconder?
Second.
Seconded by Councillor Dyson. Any discussion on the report? None being heard. We'll call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
None against. Motion carried.
Okay, Your Worship, I have a bunch. I would ask if it's at all possible that I don't do them necessarily in the order that they are in our package, just because I do know that our deputy mayor will probably declare one of these, and that way she could get up and rejoin us if we deal with that one first.
Okay.
So item C, no, I only have one for you.
No, one was mine.
Finance only has one for you.
I have one. Okay.
Okay.
Right,
yeah,
so if I can go to item number C,
Sure.
if that's okay?
Yep, good.
And I'll declare a conflict in this one because I am the executive director of the Happy Valley-Goose Bay Housing Coalition.
Okay, Deputy Mayor declares conflict, and we'll sit in the gallery. Okay, thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Okay, starting with item C, property tax exemption, Happy Valley-Goose Bay Housing and Homelessness Coalition. The Finance Administration and Policy Committee recommends council approve 100% tax relief of property tax for 2026 for parcel ID 080424.
Okay, the motion's in order. Seconder, Councillor Dyson. Any discussion? None being heard. I'll call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. None against. Okay, Deputy Mayor, come back to the table, please.
Okay, now that the deputy mayor is back with us, I will start with my momentous recommendation. Okay, so actually we'll start with item A, revised code of conduct for municipal officials. The Finance Admin and Policy Committee recommends that council approve revised policy A0047-1, code of conduct municipal officials as presented. Furthermore, council rescinds current policy A0047-1, code of conduct municipal officials 2023 upon approval of the new version.
Okay, so moved. Seconded by Councillor Dyson. Call for a discussion. Any discussion? None being heard. Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
None against. Motion carried. Thank you.
Okay, item letter B. I will say in interest of all that we have 63 items under letter B. So I'm going to start with number 1, write-off par ID 257625. In accordance with Finance Policy F0024, uncollectible accounts receivable policy, administration under the authority of the CAO recommends council approve the write-off of property tax of $8,898.60 principal and $1,357.20 interest for a total of $10,255.80 for par ID 257625.
So moved. Seconder, Councillor Dyson. Any discussion? Councillor Rumble.
Thank you, Mayor. Just wanted to, with the very first one, just to go back to my report and just to advise the general public that the purpose of these write-offs is so that we have accuracy in our town's financial statements. And again, just to reiterate that a write-off is not a forgiveness of debt, and that if we are able to record this in the future, to recover it in the future, we will do so.
Okay.
And this would be the same for all of them.
Thank you. I'm just going to ask the CAO, could you just explain what types of accounts these are? Are there people that have moved away, passed on? Do you have a general overview of exactly what types of accounts are written off?
These are various accounts that are sitting currently under our allowance for doubtful accounts, which we've gone through careful scrutiny with the past couple of years with our auditor. And the auditor made a recommendation that we create a policy to deal with the allowance for doubtful accounts uncollectible amounts, which we did last month. Council passed policy F0024. And most of these are 2018 or prior, which under the Act are not collectible because they have never had a payment made on them, or because the owner is deceased in case of property, businesses have closed in the case of business tax or tipping fees, and there's no means by which the town can actively collect the funds. As Councillor Rumble indicated, that if somehow money came to the town towards one of these accounts, it would be accepted back in as revenue. But there's nothing active that the town can do to collect them.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? None being heard, call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next one, please.
Okay, tax write-off, Power ID 0818500001, in accordance with Finance Policy F0024, Uncollectible Accounts Receivable Policy Administration, under the authority of the CAO, recommends council approve the write-off of business tax of $4,059.72, principal for Power ID 0818500001.
So moved. Do we have a seconder? Counselor Dyson. Any discussion? None being heard, call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None against, motion carried.
Tax write-off, Power ID 081850, in accordance with Finance Policy F0024, Uncollectible Accounts Receivable Policy Administration, under the authority of the CAO, recommends council approve the write-off of property tax of $3,383.10 principal and $235.08 interest, water and sewer tax of $535, for a total of $4,153.18 for Power ID 081850.
So moved. Seconder. Counselor Williams. Any discussion? None heard, call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None against, motion carried.
Tax write-off, Power ID 267931, in accordance with Finance Policy F0024, Uncollectible Accounts Receivable Policy Administration, under the authority of the CAO, recommends council approve the write-off of property tax of $1,913.76 principal and $764.34 interest, water and sewer tax of $1,146.88 for a total of $3,824.98 for Power ID 267931.
So moved. Seconder, Counselor Dyson. Any discussion? No discussion heard. Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None against. Motion carried.
Tax write-off, customer code APPLT004. In accordance with Finance Policy F0024, Uncollectible Accounts Receivable Policy Administration, under the authority of the CAO, recommends council approve the write-off of equipment hire of $111.96 principal and $105 interest, for a total of $216.96 for miscellaneous expense APPLT004.
So moved. We have a seconder.
I'll second.
Seconded by Deputy Mayor Compton Hobbs. Any discussion? None heard. Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None against. Motion carried.
Tax write-off, customer code ASTAL001. In accordance with Finance Policy F0024, Uncollectible Accounts Receivable Policy Administration, under the authority of the CAO, recommends council approve the write-off of arena advertising of $1,380 principal and $96 interest, for a total of $1,476 for arena rental ASTAL001.
So moved. Call for seconder.
I'll second.
Counselor Odell. Any discussion? None heard. Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None against. Motion carried.
Tax write-off, customer code BRENC002. In accordance with Finance Policy F0024, Uncollectible Accounts Receivable Policy Administration, under the authority of the CAO, recommends council approve the write-off of tipping fee of $126.50 principal and 66 cents interest, for a total of $127.16 for customer code BURD. Ooh, I have to pause. I have two different customer codes. I have one in the tax write-off as BRENC002, and I have one in the body of my recommendation of BURDE004. So I'm going to ask the CAO to clarify the customer code on item 7 for me, please. Or at this time, I can skip item 7, go on to item 8, and you can get back to me? Okay. Moving right along. Tax write-off, Power ID 213723. In accordance with Finance Policy F0024, Uncollectible Accounts Receivable Policy Administration, under the authority of the CAO, recommends council approve the write-off of property tax of $7,747.80 principal and $990 5454 interest for a total of $8,742.34 for power ID 213723.
So moved. We have a seconder. Seconded by Councillor Williams. Any discussion? None heard. Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
None against. Motion carried.
Tax write-off, power ID 204371, in accordance with Finance Policy F0024, uncollectible accounts receivable policy administration under the authority of CAO, recommends council approve the write-off of property tax of $105.20 principal and $67.05 interest for a total of $172.25 for power ID 204371.
So moved. Call for a seconder.
I'll second.
Seconded by Deputy Mayor Compton Hobbs. Any discussion? None heard. Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
None against. Motion carried.
Tax write-off, power ID 204378, in accordance with Finance Policy F0024, uncollectible accounts receivable policy administration under the authority of the CAO, recommends council approve the write-off of property tax of $654.74 principal and $177.79 interest for a total of $832.53 for power ID 204378.
So moved. Call for a seconder. Councillor Williams. Any discussion? None heard. Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
None against. Motion carried.
Tax write-off, power ID 204325, in accordance with Finance Policy F0024, uncollectible accounts receivable policy administration under the authority of the CAO, recommends council approve the write-off of property tax of $441.80 principal and $125.57 interest for a total of $567.37 for power ID 204325.
So moved. Call for seconder. Councillor Dyson. Any discussion? None heard. Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
None against. Motion carried.
Tax write-off, power ID 204075, in accordance with Finance Policy uncollectible accounts receivable policy F0024, administration under the authority of the CAO, recommends council approve the write-off of property tax of $100 principal and $6 interest for a total of $106 for power ID 204075.
So moved. Call for a seconder. Councillor Dyson. Any discussion? None heard. Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
None against. Motion carried.
Okay, going back to item number 7. Which one am I using, CAO, the first or the second? The first? Thank you. Tax write-off customer code BRENC002, in accordance with Finance Policy F0024 uncollectible accounts receivable policy administration under the authority of the CAO, recommends council approve the write-off of tipping fee of $126.50 principal and 66 cents interest for a total of $127.16 for customer code BRENC002.
Okay, so moved. Seconder. Second, Councillor Williams. Any discussion? None heard. Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None against. Motion carried.
Tax write-off, customer code COZYC001. In accordance with Finance Policy F0024, uncollectible accounts receivable policy administration under the authority of the CAO, recommends council approve the write-off of business tax of $1,091.04 principal and $159.50 interest for a total of $1,250.54 for customer code COZYC001.
So moved. Call for seconder. Councillor Dyson. Any discussion? None heard. Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None against. Motion carried.
Tax write-off, customer code DEPAR005. In accordance with Finance Policy F0024, uncollectible accounts receivable policy administration under the authority of the CAO, recommends council approve the write-off of tipping fees of $69 principal and $16.16 interest for a total of $85.16 for customer code DEPAR005.
So moved. Seconder. Councillor Williams. Any discussion? None heard. Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None against. Motion carried.
Tax write-off, customer code DEPT013. In accordance with Finance Policy F0024, Uncollectible Accounts Receivable Policy Administration, under the authority of the CAO, recommends council approve the write-off of tipping fees, $551 principal, and $242.07 interest, for a total of $793.07 for customer code DEPT013.
So moved. Seconder?
I'll second.
Seconded by Deputy Mayor Compton Hobbs. Any discussion? None heard. Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
None against. Motion carried.
Tax write-off, customer code DEPTS001. In accordance with Finance Policy F0024, Uncollectible Accounts Receivable Policy Administration, under the authority of the CAO, recommends council approve the write-off of tipping fees of $90.40 for a total of $90.40 for customer code DEPTS001.
So moved. Seconder? Councillor Dyson. Any comments? None heard. Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None against. Motion carried.
Tax write-off, customer code DONNY001. In accordance with Finance Policy F0024, Uncollectible Accounts Receivable Policy Administration, under the authority of the CAO, recommends council approve the write-off of business tax of $859.63 principal and $260.21 interest, for a total of $1,119.84 for customer code DONNY001.
So moved. Seconder? Councillor Dyson. Any comments? None heard. Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
None against. Motion carried.
Tax write-off, Power ID 204376. In accordance with Finance Policy F0024, Uncollectible Accounts Receivable Policy Administration, under the authority of the CAO, recommends council approve the write-off of property tax of $958.49 principal and $384.40 interest, for a total of $1,342.89 for Power ID 204376.
So moved. Seconder? Councillor Williams. Any discussion? None heard. Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
None against. Motion carried.
Tax write-off, customer code GLENN026. In accordance with Finance Policy F0024, Uncollectible Accounts Receivable Policy Administration, under the authority of the CAO, recommends council approve the write-off of miscellaneous of $20,825.90 principal, for a total of $20,825.90 for customer code GLENN026.
So moved. Seconder?
I'll second.
Seconded by Councillor Dyson. Any discussion? None heard. Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
None against. Motion carried.
Tax write-off, customer code GOLFC001. In accordance with Finance Policy F0024, Uncollectible Accounts Receivable Policy Administration, under the authority of the CAO, recommends council approve the write-off of business tax of $698.07 principal and $913.25 interest, for a total of $1,611.32 for customer code GOLFC001.
So moved.
Second.
Seconded by Deputy Mayor Compton Hobbs. Any discussion? No discussion. Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None against. Motion carried.
Tax write-off, customer code GOOS003. In accordance with Finance Policy F0024, Uncollectible Accounts Receivable Policy Administration, under the authority of the CAO, recommends council approve the write-off engineering fee of $5,000 for a total of $5,000 for customer code GOOS003.
So moved. Seconder? Seconded by Councillor Williams. Any discussion? None heard. Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None against. Motion carried.
Tax write-off, Power ID 194973001. In accordance with Finance Policy F0024, Uncollectible Accounts Receivable Policy Administration, under the authority of the CAO, recommends council approve the write-off of business tax of $26,487.42 principal and $9,414.25 interest for a total of $35,901.67 for power ID 194973001.
So moved. Seconded by Deputy Mayor Compton Hobbs. Any discussion? None heard. Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None against. Motion carried.
Tax write-off, power ID 194973, in accordance with Finance Policy F0024, Uncollectible Accounts Receivable Policy Administration, under the authority of the CAO, recommends council approve the write-off of property tax of $23,596.58 principal and $8,725.16 interest for a total of $32,321.74 for power ID 194973.
So moved. Seconder. Seconded by Councillor Williams. Any discussion? None heard. Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None against. Motion carried.
Tax write-off, customer code GREA 001. In accordance with Finance Policy F0024, Uncollectible Accounts Receivable Policy Administration, under the authority of the CAO, recommends council approve the write-off of tipping fees of $350.30 principal and $160.20 interest for a total of $510.05 for customer code GREA 001.
So moved. Seconder. Councillor Williams. Any discussion? None heard. Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None against. Motion carried.
Tax write-off, power ID 204105. In accordance with Finance Policy F0024, Uncollectible Accounts Receivable Policy Administration, under the authority of the CAO, recommends council approve the write-off of property tax of $404.56 principal and $8.32 interest for a total of $412.88 for power ID 204105.
So moved. Seconder.
I'll second.
Councillor Dyson. Any discussion? None heard. Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None against. Motion carried.
Tax write-off, power ID HILLC 003. In accordance with Finance Policy F0024, Uncollectible Accounts Receivable Policy Administration, under the authority of the CAO, recommends council approve the write-off of miscellaneous hose, nozzle, foam, Spitfire case of $2,852.08 principal and $474.08 interest for a total of $3,326.16 for customer code HILLC 003.
So moved. Seconder. Councillor Deputy Mayor Compton Hobbs. Any discussion? None heard. Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
None against. Motion carried.
Tax write-off, power ID HILLG 003. In accordance with Finance Policy F0024, Uncollectible Accounts Receivable Policy Administration, under the authority of the CAO, recommends council approve the write-off of business tax of $827 principal and $143.10 interest for a total of $970.10 for customer code HILLG 003.
So moved. Seconder. Councillor Dyson. Any discussion? None heard. Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
None against. Motion carried.
Tax write-off, power ID ICEW 0003. In accordance with Finance Policy F0024, Uncollectible Accounts Receivable Policy Administration, under the authority of the CAO, recommends council approve the write-off arena rental of $1,512.50 principal and $587.30 interest for a total of $2,099.80 for customer code ICEWO 003.
Thank you. I was going to mention that. So,
It's all blurring together now.
motion's on the floor. Call for seconder. Councillor Dyson. Any discussion? None heard. Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
None against. Motion carried.
Tax write-off, customer code IGLUT 001. In accordance with Finance Policy F0024 Uncollectible Accounts Receivable Policy Administration, under the authority of the CAO, recommends council approve the write-off of arena rental of $21.26 principal and $5.70 interest, tipping fees of $12.65 principal and 66 cents interest, business tax of $8,694 principal and $2,122.35 interest, for a total of $10,856.62 for customer code IGLUT001.
So moved.
I'll
Seconder, seconded by Deputy Mayor Compton Hobbs. Any discussion? No discussion. Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None against. Motion carried.
Tax write-off, Power ID 079335001. In accordance with Finance Policy F0024, Uncollectible Accounts Receivable Policy Administration, under the authority of the CAO, recommends council approve the write-off of business tax of $26,765.27 principal and $11,414.15 interest, for a total of $38,179.42 for Power ID 079335001.
So moved. Seconder, seconded by Councillor Dyson. Any discussion? None heard. Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None against. Motion carried.
Tax write-off, Power ID 081170. In accordance with Finance Policy F0024, Uncollectible Accounts Receivable Policy Administration, under the authority of the CAO, recommends council approve the write-off of property tax of $2,626.05 principal and $1414.65 interest, water and sewer tax of $2,575, for a total of $6,615.70 for Power ID 081170.
So moved. Seconder, Councillor Dyson. Any discussion? None heard. Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
None against. Motion carried.
Tax write-off, Power ID 078742. In accordance with Finance Policy F0024, Uncollectible Accounts Receivable Policy Administration, under the authority of the CAO, recommends council approve the write-off of property tax of $1,000 principal and $20 interest, for a total of $1,020 for Power ID 078742.
So moved. Seconder, seconded by Councillor Dyson. Any discussion? None heard. Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried.
Tax write-off, Power ID 080763. In accordance with Finance Policy F0024, Uncollectible Accounts Receivable Policy Administration, under the authority of the CAO, recommends council approve the write-off of property tax of $4,769.10 principal and $596.25 interest, for a total of $5,365.35 for Power ID 080763.
So moved. Seconder, Councillor Williams. Any discussion? None heard. Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None against. Motion carried.
Tax write-off, Power ID LAVAL001. In accordance with Finance Policy F0024 and Collectible Accounts Receivable Policy Administration, under the authority of the CAO, recommends council approve the write-off of equipment hire business tax of $2,735.76 principal and $1,125.18 interest, for a total of $3,860.94 for customer code LAVAL001.
So moved. Call for seconder.
Second.
Deputy Mayor Compton Hobbs. Any discussion? None heard. Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
None against. Motion carried.
Tax write-off, Power ID LEGEN001. In accordance with Finance Policy F0024 and Collectible Accounts Receivable Policy Administration, under the authority of the CAO, recommends council approve the write-off of arena rental of $725 principal and $263.22 interest, for a total of $988.22 for customer code LEGEN001.
So moved. Seconder, Councillor Williams. Any discussion? No discussion. Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None against, motion carried.
Tax write-off, customer code LOCAL-001. In accordance with Finance Policy F0024, uncollectible accounts receivable policy administration, under the authority of the CAO, recommends council approve the write-off of business tax of $3,392.23 principal for a total of $3,392.23 for customer code LOCAL-001.
So moved. Seconded. Counselor Williams, discussion? None heard, call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None against, motion carried.
Tax write-off par ID 079335. In accordance with Finance Policy F0024, uncollectible accounts receivable policy administration, under the authority of the CAO, recommends council approve the write-off of property tax of $37,849.47 principal and $17,826.60 interest for a total of $55,676.07 for par ID 079335.
So moved. Seconder. Deputy Mayor Compton Hobbs, any discussion? None heard, call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None against, motion carried.
Tax write-off par ID 081264. In accordance with Finance Policy F0024, uncollectible accounts receivable policy administration, under the authority of the CAO, recommends council approve the write-off of property tax of $7,317.54 principal and $5,228 interest, water and sewer tax of $9,731 for a total of $22,276.54 for par ID 081264.
So moved. Seconder. Counselor Odell, any discussion? No discussion, call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None against, motion carried.
Tax write-off par ID MINAS 001. In accordance with Finance Policy F0024, uncollectible accounts receivable policy administration, under the authority of the CAO, recommends council approve the write-off of tipping fees of $327.70 principal and $128.80 interest for a total of $456.50 for customer code MINAS 001.
So moved. Seconder. Deputy Mayor Compton Hobbs, discussion? None heard, call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None against, motion carried.
Tax write-off par ID MUNIC 002. In accordance with Finance Policy F0024, uncollectible accounts receivable policy administration, under the authority of the CAO, recommends council approve the write-off of water on-off fee of $150 principal for a total of $150 for customer code MUNIC 002.
So moved. Seconder. Seconded by Counselor Williams. Any discussion? No discussion, call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None against, motion carried.
Tax write-off par ID MUTRE 001. In accordance with Finance Policy F0024, uncollectible accounts receivable policy administration, under the authority of the CAO, recommends council approve the write-off of business tax of $600 principal and $42 interest for a total of $642 for customer code MUTRE 001.
So moved. Seconder. Deputy Mayor Compton Hobbs. Any discussion? No discussion heard. Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None against. Motion carried.
Tax write-off par ID 198069001. In accordance with Finance Policy F0024, uncollectible accounts receivable policy administration, under the authority of the CAO, recommends council approve the write-off of business tax of $600 principal and $75 interest for a total of $675 for par ID 198069001.
So moved. Seconder. Which? Deputy Mayor Compton Hobbs. Any discussion? No discussion heard. Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None against. Motion carried.
Tax write-off par ID NORTH 055. In accordance with Finance Policy F0024, uncollectible accounts receivable policy administration, under the authority of the CAO, recommends council approve the write-off of tipping fees of $206.80 principal and $76.60 interest for a total of $283.40 for customer code NORTH 055.
So moved. Seconder. Counselor Dyson, any discussion? None heard, call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
None against, motion carried.
Tax write-off par ID OMEGA 001. In accordance with Finance Policy F0024 and Collectible Accounts Receivable Policy Administration, under the authority of the CAO, recommends council approve the write-off of tipping fees of $180.80 principal and $57.60 interest for a total of $238.40 for customer code OMEGA 001.
So moved. Seconder? Counselor Dyson, any discussion? None heard, call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None against, motion carried.
Tax write-off customer code PASCA 001. In accordance with Finance Policy F0024 on Collectible Accounts Receivable Policy Administration, under the authority of the CAO, recommends council approve the write-off of business tax of $622.81 principal and $261.66 interest for a total of $884.47 for customer code PASCA 001.
So moved. Seconded by Deputy Mayor Compton Hobbs. Any discussion? None heard, call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
None against, motion carried.
Tax write-off customer code PIZZA 001. In accordance with Finance Policy F0024 on Collectible Accounts Receivable Policy Administration, under the authority of the CAO, recommends council approve the write-off of business tax of $14,992.86 principal and $3,985.57 interest for a total of $18,978.43 for customer code PIZZA 001.
So moved. Seconder? Counselor Dyson, call for any discussion. None heard, call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None against, motion carried.
Tax write-off par ID 204314. In accordance with Finance Policy F0024 on Collectible Accounts Receivable Policy Administration, under the authority of the CAO, recommends council approve the write-off of property tax of $938.65 principal and $375.24 interest for a total of $1,313.89 for par ID 204314.
So moved. Seconded. Deputy Mayor Compton Hobbs. Any discussion? No discussion. Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None against. Motion carried.
Tax write-off par ID 078970. In accordance with Finance Policy F0024 on Collectible Accounts Receivable Policy Administration, under the authority of the CAO, recommends council approve the write-off of property tax of $1,995 principal for a total of $1,995 for par ID 078970.
So moved. Seconded. Counselor Dyson. Any discussion? None heard. Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None against. Motion carried.
Tax write-off par ID 079862. In accordance with Finance Policy F0024 on Collectible Accounts Receivable Policy Administration, under the authority of the CAO, recommends council approve the write-off of property tax of $1665.30 principal, water and sewer of $1,045 for a total of $2,710.30 for par ID 079862.
So moved.
Just
What
going
was
to
that?
hold off on our vote. We do have a discrepancy in our numbers. It's either par ID 079862 or 079562. So we're just going to make sure we got the right one.
Do we want to move on to the next one until, unless you have it there, CAO?
862. Okay.
Okay.
So 862 is what I did read in my motion. So you are free to get a seconder.
Okay, so, so moved, seconded by Counselor Dyson. Any comments, discussion? No discussion? Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None against. Motion carried.
Tax write-off customer code RUSSQ 001. In accordance with Finance Policy F0024 and Collectible Accounts Receivable Policy Administration, under the authority of the CAO, recommends council approve the write-off of equipment hire for $552.44 principal and $210 interest for a total of $762.44 for customer code RUSSQ 001.
So moved. Seconder? Deputy Mayor Compton Hobbs. Any discussion? None heard, call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None against, motion carried.
Tax write-off par ID 270328, in accordance with Finance Policy F0024 and Collectible Accounts Receivable Policy Administration under the authority of the CAO, recommends council approve the write-off of property tax of $1,445 principal and $122.91 interest for a total of $1,567.91 for par ID 270328.
So moved. Seconded by Councillor Williams. Any discussion? No discussion. Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Councillor Odell, you? Okay. None against? Motion carried.
Tax write-off par ID 204064, in accordance with Finance Policy F0024 and Collectible Accounts Receivable Policy Administration under the authority of the CAO, recommends council approve the write-off of property tax of $484.29 principal and $212.49 interest for a total of $696.78 for par ID 204064.
So moved. Seconder? Councillor Williams. Discussion? No discussion. Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None against? Motion carried.
Tax write-off par ID 183184, in accordance with Finance Policy F0024 and Collectible Accounts Receivable Policy Administration under the authority of the CAO, recommends council approve the write-off of property tax of $27,794.95 principal and $14,464.44 interest for a total of $42,259.39 for par ID 183184.
So moved. Seconder? Deputy Mayor Compton Hobbs. Discussion? No discussion. Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None against. Motion carried.
Tax write-off par ID 189069, in accordance with Finance Policy F0024 on Collectible Accounts Receivable Policy Administration under the authority of the CAO, recommends council approve the write-off of property tax of $1,386.80 principal and $691.88 interest for a total of $2,078.68 for par ID 189069.
So moved. Seconder? Deputy Mayor Compton Hobbs. Any discussion? None heard. Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
None against. Motion carried.
Tax write-off par ID 079645, in accordance with Finance Policy F0024 on Collectible Accounts Receivable Policy Administration under the authority of the CAO, recommends council approve the write-off of property tax of $2,223.89 principal and $1,053.69 interest, water and sewer tax of $2,065 for a total of $5,342.58 for par ID 079645.
So moved. Seconded by Councillor Williams. No discussion. Any discussion? None heard. Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None against. Motion carried.
Okay, my next item, just for council's note in your documents, the number that I will read is the correct number. We do have a discrepancy in our council package. So, tax write-off, customer code 079652. In accordance with Finance Policy F0024, Uncollectible Accounts Receivable Policy Administration, under the authority of the CAO, recommends council approve the write-off of property tax of $240.01 principal and $967.06 interest, water and sewer tax of $960 for a total of $2,167.07 for customer code 079652.
So moved. Seconder? Councillor Dyson. Any discussion? No discussion. Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None against. Motion carried.
Tax write-off par ID 204260, in accordance with Finance Policy F0024 on Collectible Accounts Receivable Policy Administration, under the authority of the CAO, recommends council approve the write-off of property tax of $1,091.39 principal and $342.93 interest for a total of $1,434.32 for par ID 204260.
So moved. Seconded. Councillor Dyson. Any discussion? No discussion. Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. none against, motion carried.
Tax write-off customer code TAMAT001. In accordance with Finance Policy F0024, uncollectible accounts receivable policy administration under the authority of the CAO, recommends council approve the write-off of business tax of $7,070.91 principal and $668.91 interest for a total of $7,739.82 for customer code TAMAT001.
So moved, seconded by Deputy Mayor Compton Hobbs. Any discussion? None heard, call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
None against, motion carried.
Tax write-off par ID THETI002. In accordance with Finance Policy F0024, uncollectible accounts receivable policy administration under the authority of the CAO, recommends the council approve the write-off of tipping fees of $126.50 interest for a total of $126.50 for customer code THETI002.
So moved, seconded. Deputy Mayor Compton Hobbs. Discussion? None heard, call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
None against, motion carried.
Tax write-off customer code UNCLE001. In accordance with Finance Policy F0024, uncollectible accounts receivable policy administration under the authority of the CAO, recommends council approve the write-off of business tax of $4,616.20 principal and $3,261.78 interest for a total of $7,877.98 for customer code UNCLE001.
So moved, seconded by Councillor Williams. Discussion? None heard, call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None against, motion carried.
Tax write-off par ID UNITE007. In accordance with Finance Policy F0024, uncollectible accounts receivable policy administration under the authority of the CAO, recommends council approve the write-off of tipping fees of $172.50 principal and $25.50 interest for a total of $198 for customer code UNITE007.
So moved, seconded. Councillor Winters, any discussion? None heard, call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried, none against.
Tax write-off par ID 078891. In accordance with Finance Policy F0024, uncollectible accounts receivable policy administration under the authority of the CAO, recommends council approve the write-off of property tax of $4,445.17 principal and $1,477.45 interest, water and sewer tax of $2,065, water sewer on-off fee of $75, for a total of $8,062.62 for power ID 078891.
So moved, seconded by Deputy Mayor Compton Hobbs. Any discussion? None heard, call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None against, motion carried.
Tax write-off par ID 210155. In accordance with Finance Policy F0024, uncollectible accounts receivable policy administration under the authority of the CAO, recommends council approve the write-off of property tax of $139 principal and $40.52 interest for a total of $179.52 for par ID 210155.
So moved, seconder. Councillor Williams, any discussion? Thank God this is your last one. No discussion, call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
None against? Motion carried.
Okay, so now that we've already taken care of item C in advance, I'm going to move on to item D. Interest relief, par ID 079286. The Finance Administration and Policy Committee recommends council deny interest relief for par ID 079286 in the amount of $455.83.
So moved, seconded by Councillor Dyson. Any discussion? No discussion, call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
None against, motion carried.
Interest relief, par ID 080948. The Finance Admin and Policy Committee recommends council deny interest relief for par ID 080948 in the amount of $1,723.17.
So moved, seconded by Councillor Williams. Discussion? No discussion, call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
None against? Motion carried.
My final recommendation, interest relief, par ID 082057. The Finance Administration and Policy Committee recommends council deny interest relief for par ID 082057 in the amount of $1,917.74.
So moved, seconded by Deputy Mayor Compton Hobbs. Any discussion? None heard. Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
None against. Motion carried. Okay, thank you.
I think Councilor Rumble would make an excellent flight attendant.
Okay, so we'll move on to Community Planning and Development, and Councillor Dyson, please.
Thank you, Mayor. First off, I got to thank Councillor Rumbold because my last term on council, having the committees meet separately, this is a whole different dynamic. So, of course, I picked her brain and I wouldn't have known what to do without her. So, actually, thank you very much, Councillor Rumbold, for your amazing help today. And hopefully you don't have to speak too much more in any of these. But anyway, this month during the Committee of the Whole meeting, Council was presented with 3 Crown Lands applications. The first application is for land at Groves Point to be built in a slipway, and a recommendation is to follow. The second application is for land at Groves Point to build a recreational cottage with a recommendation to follow as well. And the third application is for land on Kellen Drive, which is currently zoned industrial, commercial, to be approved for planted grass and a green space, and a recommendation is to follow on that. Prior to tonight's meeting, we also received information regarding 3 very time-sensitive cleanup orders, and recommendations will follow for those as well. This month, the Community Planning and Development Department managers provided their reports to Council. We received a report from the manager of community development detailing her monthly activities, which included meetings related to small business, climate adaptation, accessibility, and other important activities and training. She has taken the lead on the public transit system and continues to implement important updates there, such as the creation of a transit etiquette policy. It is also worth noting that thanks to her hard work and diligence, our CDM has greatly increased our social media presence and community engagement, and we're getting a lot of positive feedback from that. The Director of Engineering provided a report detailing his activities, such as digitizing historical mapping and data that is stored in the basement, reviewing the civic numbering system in the town, updating public procurement files, record keeping, reviewing Crown Land applications, and assisting with bus implementation. He continues to be a point of contact for resident inquiries. Conversations continue to take place during meetings regarding the large number of dilapidated properties in our community. These discussions encompass not just the CPD committee, but also overlap the FAP and Protective Services, and that we all strive to make progress in having these issues remedied or removed. It is unfortunate that regulations cause this process to move slowly due to legal and procedural considerations, but rest assured that this remains a priority of Council. And I ask that you accept this report as presented.
So moved, seconded by Deputy Mayor Compton Hobbs. Any discussion? None heard. Call for a vote. All in favor of the report?
Aye.
Aye. None against. Motion carried. You have 3 recommendations, or 6
I have,
recommendations?
yeah. So, the first one is, I guess you declare.
I'll need to declare a conflict on this one.
Okay,
This is-
Deputy Mayor Compton Hobbs declaring conflict on this because the application involves her.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Crown Land applications, 164739512 Groves Point. The Community Planning and Development Committee recommends Council provide no objection to Crown Lands application 164739 located at 512 Groves Point for the development of a walkway, slipway, wharf on the condition that future development complies with the town's development regulations.
So moved, seconded by Counselor Williams. Any discussion? None heard. Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
None against. Motion carried.
Thank you.
We'll wait for Deputy Mayor to come back here now. Thank you.
The second recommendation is 164-75292 Groves Point. The Community Planning and Development Committee recommends council provide no objection to Crown Lands application 164-752 located at 92 Groves Point for the development of a cottage on the condition that future development complies with the town's development regulations, and the applicant acknowledges the following definition under HVGB Development Regulations 2018 to 2028, 5.6.8 definition. Cottage means a dwelling unit designed or intended for seasonal or recreational use and is not intended for use as a permanent living quarters and does not include a vehicle as defined under the Highway Traffic Act of 1990.
So moved. Seconded by Deputy Mayor Compton Hobbs. Discussion? None heard. Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None against. Motion carried.
Okay, the third one, 164-780 214 Kellen Drive. The Community Planning and Development Committee recommends council provide objection to Crown Lands application 164-780 located at 214 Kellen Drive, as the town has plans for infrastructure to be built through this proposed area. As well, there are concerns about the depth of the property compared to neighboring properties.
So moved. Seconded by Councillor Williams. Discussion? Deputy Mayor Compton Hobbs.
Mayor, can I just ask Mr. Dillon if he can just speak on to future development? What future development is the town planning on using that property for?
We're in the process now, Deputy Mayor, of discussing with Crown Lands people as to reserving a section of land in that particular area for a future expansion. So we can hold it in reserve at no cost to the town until we finalize exactly what we're going to be doing with that tract of land.
So has there been any discussion on what might be built in that area?
Well, we did have a land use suitability study done at one point a number of years ago, and that is a potential for future expansion. Now, we need to have a further look at the groundwater issue and this type of thing, and as well as potential layout of the area. And in this particular case, this would jut so far back, it would have a detrimental effect on potential development in the area.
I find it a little bit concerning when we have a business person that's applying for land and wants to expand and bring taxes and money to the town, and we're pushing back. I'm not sure, can you tell us like what size of the land, what it was that he applied for, how big it was? It was in the package, but I don't recall now, but it was a fair-sized piece, right? 60 meters by 60 meters. Yeah, so what we're saying is we're denying this application because of future development, that the town will be using this land for future development.
Well, it's not denied until council votes on it. The recommendation is to object to it.
Yeah, object, deny, which is coming up now, right?
Okay.
And my other question is this applicant able to apply again if the town decides they're not going to use that much land for future development?
Well, that's between him and Crown Lands, as to
Right.
what the application process is.
So there's
This
no
is only
process in
referred
the
to us.
town that he can't apply again? There's no,
Well, it's not this is a referral to us from Crown Lands.
yes.
So it's between him and Crown Lands as to what
Right.
their policy is for reapplication.
Yeah.
And
So, yeah,
And I just wanted to add, and we've had, Crown Lands makes the ultimate decision. We've had a number of applications over the years where we've objected to them, and Crown Lands went ahead and awarded it anyway. But in this case, this is land that, if you can correct me, town engineer, land that has been identified for future development in the community, and was outlined, I believe, in the development plan that expires in 2028. Then we go through another process of developing another plan in 2028. So by the time 2028 comes around, if that land has not been identified for future development, then there'll be other discussions around it then, I would imagine.
Well, there'll be a public consultation process.
There has to be a
And
consultation.
then it'll be up to, what the recommendation is of council at the time to decide what we want to do with that, or what council wants to do with that particular piece of land and the zoning in that particular area.
Yeah, I agree with Councillor Compton Hobbs in the sense we don't want to restrict development in our community, but we have to do it right. And so what you're suggesting is that by objecting to this application, we're making the right decision for future development in our community, correct?
Yes, that's correct, Mayor.
Okay. Councillor Odell?
Just one question with regards to that parcel of land. According to the application, they're looking to use it for green space. Is there a way around allowing them to use this for green space without actually, is there a workaround to allow them to do what they want to do without basically tying the hands of the
Owning the
community?
land.
Yeah. Because, I mean, if they were looking at putting up a building, that's a whole different ballgame. But if they're looking at using this for green space for whatever reasons, of developing, I don't know, a sitting area, a walking space, something for their customers that does not impact future plans of the community, is that a workaround for this individual or this company? Or it's either nay or hey, one or the other?
Well, my interpretation is once he has the land, it's his land. He can make application to do with it whatever he wants.
Okay.
Right now, he's identifying it as
Green space.
grass, green space. But I mean, that's what his intention is right now. That could change in a year's time.
Okay, so again, with regards to that, is there an opportunity for the community, is there an opportunity for the community or the council to say it has to be used specifically for this only and nothing else? Or,
Yeah, I think in that case, if he was to acquire the land from the Crown,
right,
then whatever development takes on place would have, on that land would have to conform with the development regulations,
okay,
whatever development that would be.
okay.
Councillor Rumble?
Yeah, just further to that, I just wanted to note that, I mean, it does say in our briefing note that the land is presently zoned industrial commercial. The application is for planted grass green space. But if you look at the map, to what Councillor Odell said, I would think that if somebody wanted to use that for green space, for outdoor activities, looking at that map, it's perfectly accessible. Like, you could walk through there, you could pick berries, you could, explore the trails. There are existing trails that actually run through that parcel of land. So I live in a neighborhood nearby, and I think that there's lots of people that walk their dogs and whatnot back there. So I do think that anybody who wants to take advantage of that for the purpose of green spaces, even without a Crown lands, without holding Crown lands, people could definitely take advantage of it for that reason. So yeah, I think that the providing objection to the acquisition of that land for that purpose doesn't stop anybody from going out and walking in those trails and enjoying the outdoors.
Okay, any other comments? None heard, call for a vote. All in favor of objecting the application or having objection to the application?
Aye.
All right. Those against? For the record, Deputy Mayor Compton Hobbs is against. Motion carried. Next one, please.
All right. So these are a bit different because these are part of it's the additional motions, but they're worded a bit different. So be it resolved that council approve a cleanup order to Mom's Place for their property located at 96 Hamilton River Road.
So moved. Seconded?
I'll second.
Seconded by Deputy Mayor Compton Hobbs. Any discussion? Just for the information of the public, that's one of the buildings that recently burned. Okay,
All
call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
None against? Motion carried. Next one, please.
Be it resolved that council approve a cleanup order to Mom's Place for their property located at 13 Hillcrest Road.
Seconded by Deputy Mayor Compton Hobbs, any discussion?
I just want to note that this property was one of the tax sale properties from last month, so it's also been one that was affected by some damage in the fire.
Call for a vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None against, motion carried. Next one, please.
Be it resolved that council approve a cleanup order to Norman Gear for the property located at 58 Cabot Crescent.
So moved, seconded by Councillor Williams. Any discussion? No discussion, call for a motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None against, motion carried. I think that's it for you,
That's
Councillor.
it for me.
Thank you. Let's move on to protective services. There's no recommendations there for protective services, correct?
That's right.
Okay, municipal services.
Do you do an overview of our committee of the whole report?
Yeah, we can do a protective service and overview of the committee of the whole report.
Yeah, protective services. I'm good.
You good?
So November 12th, committee of the whole meeting, the committees, we went through each committee. Protective services, we talked about the fireworks bylaw again, and it was noted that fire chief wanted council to review before the draft, before it goes to legal, so I asked that all council respond to fire chief via email sooner rather than later, so we can move to the next phase. I asked town engineer, Mr. Dillon, for an update on the fire hall design. He advised that he expects to receive the concept plan this week. Roaming dogs, we talked about, continues to be an issue and would like to remind residents that dogs must be leashed. We talked about public safety, continues to be a concern for the community. The numbers with the RCMP for October 2025 are still very high, 675 occurrences, and I would encourage people to continue to call the RCMP if they see any illegal activity happening out there. I've got an update from the fire chief from Brian Davis, who's working on the community safety plan. He does have the website set up now. There's a survey on there, and share it and spread it around, and as many residents as possible to fill out that survey. Bring your community safety concerns and forward and fill out the survey. And if you got any questions, call Brian Davis. We've requested a meeting with Minister of Justice Ottenheimer to address moving violations and the request for a third lane at Boise Drive, Kellen Drive, Muley Mountain Collegiate. And also, we urgently want to talk to the Minister of Justice about public safety, of course, in our community. So I please ask that you accept my report as presented.
I second that.
So moved, seconded by Councillor Dyson. Any discussion on the report? None heard. Call for a vote. All in favor of the report?
Aye.
None against. Motion carried. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. And we'll move on to municipal services. Councillor Williams.
Oh, thanks, Mayor. Like Councillor Dyson, I also have to have a huge thank you to Councillor Rumbold for her help in advising me on reading these reports for council minutes. It's brand new experience for me, and it's good to know. There was no briefing notes, memos, or attachments in the Committee of the Whole package for November 12th, 2025 for municipal services, so I'm going to move right to the manager's report. Summary of operations. Most work is completed on the lift station upgrades. Loring Drive upgrading. The lights have been installed. There is maintenance being completed. Mr. Dillon identified some troubles that are being remedied. Our bike trail upgrades. Paving is completed. And further to this, we are discussing other options for the bike trail. We are transitioning to winter maintenance. The sign has been installed on Anderson. Snow markers will be coming out soon. And from Environmental Services, winter shutdown of seasonal facilities has been completed. So I ask you to accept this report as presented.
So moved. We have a seconder, Deputy Mayor Compton Hobbs. Any discussion on the report?
Just I've received Mayor, I've received a few concerns around the lights, and I just wanted to put it out there that I did speak to, and I think others received concerns too, around the arrow going left on the base, and we were advised by the town engineer, Mr. Dillon, this evening, that there is an arrow coming, and it will be installed hopefully later this week, Mr. Dillon, or next week.
Hopefully, my understanding is it should arrive this week. It's on a flight from with PAL Airlines. So as soon as we receive that, we'll have that installed.
So I just wanted to let the public know that we are aware and that there is an arrow coming for that left turn in the base.
Yeah.
Thank you. And if I can just add, there was some issue around timing, so are they the little glitches that you referenced earlier in terms of trying to time everything accordingly?
Well, all the timing was based on the traffic counts that were conducted there 3-4 years ago.
Okay.
And I think they're still valid today. And I notice, I go through that intersection a few times a day, and I've noticed that the traffic has improved. I know that the light coming from, before that was designated 16 seconds every cycle coming from Labrador Inn. Now, there's not much traffic coming from Labrador Inn. So now the light coming from, the left-hand light coming from Loring and Hamilton, the arrow light coming from Hamilton River Road to Loring, and the exit from Labrador Inn, they're all based on a detection radar or radar detection. So when there's no traffic detected, the lights will stay green on Hamilton River Road. So that would actually free up, you don't get that same kind of build-up of traffic that you would otherwise. So even though the light is shorter going left on Loring from Hamilton, normally the traffic is not so built up that those vehicles can't get through.
So there's sensors in the lights that,
There's sensors and detectors there mounted on the poles that picks up the traffic and adjusts lights accordingly.
okay, thank you.
And there was one other thing I'd also like to note, that when the lights were installed, we had the existing controller which was functioning, which was fine, but apparently when the pedestrian lights were hooked up to the controller's not working, so we have to purchase a new controller. I'm in the process now of getting quotes on that, and hopefully I'll have that within the next couple of days, and it's going to be a fairly expensive item. But we really need that so we can get those pedestrian
Were
walkways
they,
working.
I'm just curious, were they new controllers that were put there? Is there any warranty on these
It was
things?
the existing controller. Now, the
Okay.
controller is probably about 25 years. I think it's the original controller,
Yeah.
but it was functioning. It worked. Everything worked fine. There was no reason to suspect that the pedestrian lights wouldn't work. I know the engineer with Harborside troubleshooted. He has a lot of experience with the traffic lights, and he contacted his contacts with the various suppliers and construction companies. And it came down to the point where they said, well, the only thing you can do now is basically replace the controller.
Okay. Any other comments?
I got another question.
Deputy Mayor?
Mr. Dillon, I just wondering, we talked about the safety on the bike trail. With the new bike trail, there's a lot of ATV traffic going on there. People are concerned for safety. They're, just cruising right down the middle of the ATV trail, afraid the pedestrians that are walking on it. There's no regard for the pedestrian, for the walkers, the bikers, or whatever. I'm just wondering, do we need to discuss, or have you considered that something might need to go into budget to fix that issue for next year?
It is a concern. ATVs are not allowed on the trail. It is a safety issue for walkers and for, in the summertime, and for people who ride bicycles on the trail. These vehicles aren't allowed on the trail, and we do have crossings where, I'm not sure how many crossings, 3 or 4 crossings where we recognize that the ATVs and snowmobiles have to cross the trail, and we put in crossings for them, at designated locations, but they're not allowed to drive on the trail otherwise.
Yeah,
So it's a bit of an enforcement issue, and I think we need to possibly put in some kind of deterrence as to trying to prevent them from accessing the trail in some way. I'm not really sure exactly what the solution is at this point.
and is it something that needs to be budgeted, is my question, I guess, the Ballards?
Well, it would have to be any kind of a construction or a deterrence would have to be budget, would have to be in the budget.
So,
So-
yeah, I think that's important that we keep that on the radar for the budget.
Yeah, I think we need to determine what needs to be done there in terms of what can keep the, those ATVs off that trail. Enforcement is obviously the biggest issue we got, so hopefully we can find some solution there and make it safer. Yeah, Deputy, Councillor Dyson.
You know, there's a lot of positive feedback about the trail, and Dr. John spends a lot of time on there, and he is asked if the trail is going to be cleared during the winter. And I mean, my understanding is that it's not. I just wanted to make sure that that's not something.
I do believe that's used by, well, snowmobiling in the winter, so I'm not sure how clearing that would be possible, the town engineer?
Well, I guess it's something that we need to consider, whether or not we're going to allow snowmobiles on the trail even in the winter, because I know a lot of people would like to access the trail even in the winter. And we could easily, I can't say easily clear it, but we do have our Kubotas and stuff that we could probably make it a little more amenable for pedestrians and walkers and so on to walk the trail.
It'd be difficult to keep open all the time.
It would be difficult to keep open all the time because it's a fairly long trail, and it's, you know, we get a lot of snow here, so it's a, but in the shoulder seasons where we don't get a whole lot of snow, we can probably keep it cleared
And
sooner.
And some of the discussion was pertaining to that if, you know, there's not supposed to be snowmobiles and bikes, motorcycles or vehicles on that trail. So by keeping it clear for the walkers and the runners, because the running club thinks it's amazing, of course, that if it was kept clear, snowmobile is not going to go on it if it's pavement. Right?
That's
so
correct.
That's a point as well, right?
Yeah, I think it would make it, even in the winter, it could make a good walking trail if we, you know.
Well, certainly worth exploring, for sure.
It's worth exploring for sure, yeah, exactly.
All right.
Any other comments? No more comments? Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Okay, Community Service and Recreation, Councilor Winters, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Report from, CSR report for the month of November 2025. Action items. There's only one outstanding action item, is the MMC soccer field, and that will be addressed at budget time. And how we move forward. Sorry. Summary of operations. Labrador in the Games, Team HVGB. Plan for team recruitment is ongoing regarding tryouts and budget. There are a good number of young people who demonstrated interest to date. At the time of report, tryouts in each sport will begin soon, starting with mandatory sports. Curling Club. The Curling Club is preparing the ice surface. The start of the season is expected in November. When they open, they will resume the drop-in family night that is sponsored with the year of sport funding that the town received. Minor Soccer hosted its AGM and elected new members to its board. The executive members will remain mostly the same. YMCA annual campaign. There was a good discussion regarding which organization to approach to reach our annual goal in fundraising. The committee will remain the same for the fiscal year. YMCA fiscal year is October to September. They had decided to host a second year for a Strong Kid event at the Central Labrador Y Indoor Triathlon. The committee feels that we can build on last year and have a stronger impact, more participants, and reach out to potential donors for visibility. The funds acquired during the annual campaign help with the financial assistance program, access to day camp, and equipment to strengthen their program. YMCA, CAC, and FAC committees. The next meeting was scheduled for November 21st. Outcome of that meeting will be provided at the next month's manager's report. Age-friendly community action plan. CSR program coordinator is reviewing the report and identifying potential committee members. Figure skating. The regular program is taking place with no issues to report. Funding applied for. Application is completed to the IGA for the school board for the arena. Sports Hall of Fame. The CSR director met with the town of Burin, which has currently set up its Hall of Fame constitution. We have permission to use their documents and modify them to fit our needs. As the review is recent, it is a comprehensive document. CSR director will be using the foundation to create our draft. There are a few questions that still need to be worked out, such as will our Sports Hall of Fame be physical or virtual? There's currently no budget identified for the project, and we will need to identify the initial selection committee and what the ceremony would look like. Programming. The department is working in partnership with Creed and Peace Middle School on the possibility of running an after-school program, looking to run a pilot session of 60 minutes per week. The department received funding to run a try-it pickleball session. Equipment has been ordered, and they're in discussions with to partner with the Central Labrador-wide for space to run the program. Labrador Regional Wellness Coalition quarterly report meeting. The update to the website is moving well and should be launched soon. The next grant call will be on December 1st. With their new logo, they are working on new promotional items. The next meeting will be in December. Facilities and equipment, arena, daily cleanup and operations are in place. The first special event will take place this weekend with a rec hockey tournament. The warm temperatures have been creating soft ice. The heat will continue to be off to prevent a negative impact on the ice until favorable conditions permit. Ice plant, they were investigating various issues, working with Simcoe to resolve. The Zamboni, we were experiencing a mechanical electrical issue. The mechanics are working on it to identify the problem. We have been in contact with Zamboni for technical support. We have the previous Zamboni ready if needed. Score clock, more specific pricing will be needed to be included in the budget. Audio system, at the time of this report, issues were still ongoing. The contractor working on this issue has been out of town for medical reasons and will continue work when available. Advertising, renewal letters were sent and there has been positive feedback. A draft for the new policy is in progress and should be able for council for feedback soon. Actually, I believe that's one of our motions. The curling club is working on its ice and data report should be expected up and running soon. MMC soccer field, the field has been lined and fertilized. Ball fields, resurfacing of Husky Park is complete. The 2 ball fields at MMC Sport Complex were lined and fertilized. Staffing and training. The commitment of the staff is great and we have been able to provide service to user groups without impact. Sickness, however, have reduced our ability to complete our seasonal work. Systems report, nothing to report this month. Upcoming important dates, November 28th, 30th, rec hockey tournament, December 4th, annual tree lighting ceremony, December 5th to the 7th, annual Steve Ramey minor hockey tournament, December 6th, annual Santa Claus parade, December 18th, tentative figure skating Christmas ice show, and December 27th, rec hockey tournament. There are no recommendations and there is one motion to be provided. Please accept report as provided.
So moved. Seconder for the report,
I'll second.
Deputy Mayor Compton Hobbs. Any discussion? I think you might have covered it, but there was one issue. No, I think I'll just leave it at that. Yeah, there's nothing really. Just
Having to do with recreation facilities advertising?
yeah. So I know that there was some issue about finding space over there. So has that been resolved, or I know
From my understanding,
running out of space.
we're just receiving this evening. So if you want to put off on forwarding this motion.
No, I'm fine with the motion.
Well, like I said, I read through the document and there's nothing, it seems to be basically cleaning up where the advertisement's going and making full use of what space we have there and not really losing anything.
Right.
It didn't address the previous requests from minor hockey.
Yeah, well, they're wanting their jiggy sign to go in a certain spot or leave it there, but I think he made a compromise and put it somewhere else so that we can use more space on the boards.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think that's where.
That's their plan.
that's
the
what we
plan.
discussed, I
Right.
think, yeah.
So I think this policy statement's fine. Just I think it probably needs to be cleaned up a little bit because it refers to us as a city.
Yeah,
So it's
seems
probably a
like
cut and paste from some other policy elsewhere. On our policy goal, it says encourages businesses to partner with the city in order to generate facility revenue.
We
So,
probably could defer this one.
Yeah, we can amend the policy anytime we wish.
yeah,
I think-
I
I
mean, the
think
policy, the statement itself is fine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Defer.
The motion's on the floor.
I didn't make the motion
Yeah,
yet,
yeah.
yeah, but I'm wondering if council would want to go ahead and, like I said, this can be done next month. I mean, it's.
No urgency
I
on
briefly
this.
read
Yeah.
it this evening, but we only got it this evening.
Yeah,
so
exactly, we want to receive it this
probably
evening,
just
so
clean it up a bit.
instead of pushing it through, we
Yeah.
can all have a chance to read it
Yeah.
and then see if there's any wording to be changed, and then we can go back to the director and say,
Yeah.
okay, this will be this.
So do we need a motion to defer that, or?
No, the motion just won't come to the floor, that's all. Right? Is that correct, CAO? You need to vote on the report. Yeah, okay. So, call for a vote on the report. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None against, motion carried, and no recommendations?
Well, like I said, we'll just move that to next month until,
Okay.
or is that procedure, or can we do that? Or do we don a motion and he does it again next month?
Just on the floor.
You can, but those edits were made, it's just, it didn't make it to your package there, because I got Dominic's, email yesterday, and I updated it and sent it back.
Oh, so we didn't get the updated one, so is there an urgency that this needs to be voted on now, CAO, or can it wait?
Well, it just means that we won't be able to do anything until the policy is adopted with respect to advertising.
Well, you could follow the old policy until this one's adopted, right?
No, this is a brand new policy.
Yeah, there was no policy, it was just a protocol, I guess.
Okay,
There was no policy, so
So
sorry.
it's status quo until it's adopted.
Yes, Councilor Odell?
Yeah, I was reading some of this today, and I was just wondering, there were some of the, I guess, the costs associated with advertising on another policy. Is there any way we can take that and put it all under this policy for advertising?
Okay,
So
so,
this-
go ahead.
This policy talks about how advertising is to work and operate, how people apply for it, how things are done.
Right,
The finance policy is strictly fees. Here's the cost of advertising, that's it. It doesn't talk about the process, it doesn't talk about the application, doesn't talk about the types of the location or anything else. It's strictly fees because it's under finance.
okay. And no, and I guess the reason why I brought it up, because it was under the, I guess, the arena policy, separate from everything else, and the arena had ice rental costs and stuff like that, and then it had a section in that specifically for advertising. And that's the only reason why I brought it up, is for a way to break that, so advertising falls under advertising with the market, with the breakup of costing associated with the boards, the ice or whatnot, and it just falls to one policy and leave the arena and the costs associated with the arena. I think it's 003 or 4, I can't recall now anyways. But I
Yeah.
know there was three different policies. This referred to the other two policies. The other policy was the arena, the ball field, which never had any information or had any mentions of advertising, and I'm not sure,
Exactly.
right,
Because
what the arena did.
So those two policies you reference are fees.
Right.
They strictly relate to the cost of rentals,
Okay,
and that's what they're under finance. And every year when you do your budget, you have to adopt those finance fees.
right,
This policy
Should just bring this
relates
up
to the
to the-
process of it.
right.
So this one, if it's adopted, likely won't change until it's time for review. So this could stay in place for the next 10 years.
Right.
There's
Okay,
no
so,
reason to change.
as it was included in our package, I guess, can we call for a motion to defer this particular item till the next public council meeting? If somebody want to make that motion?
No motion?
Motion by Deputy Mayor Compton Hobbs, seconder to defer. Councillor Williams, motion carried to defer. Okay, let's move into the approval of checks. And Councillor Rumble, haven't heard from you all night, so
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to make a motion that we adopt checks in the total amount of $977,028.38, and this is for the period of November the 3rd to November the 25th.
so moved. Motion to adopt the checks in the amount of $977,120, $28.38. Seconder? Seconded by Councillor Dyson. Any discussion on the checks? Councillor Winters?
Yeah, I'm just looking at the YMCA one for 192/14/16. They were paid $83,000 last month. I'm just wondering why there's such a discrepancy between October and November.
There were some missing invoices for May
For
that we
May?
just received last week or the week before,
Okay,
so they had to be paid. And plus on top the current invoices as well.
yeah, well, that works out to be about $90,000 each, or Each month, yeah, okay. So basically what we're paying the Y for operation costs is $90,000 a month, approximately. Right, thanks.
I wouldn't say it's 90,000 a month, but I believe the last report from the YMCA, I don't have the figures here, but right now, year to date, the operating cost is less than 300,000 from our update. Actually, it's the best it's been since the Y has been built. So we're starting to see it come down as things improve at the YMCA. So that's very positive from the update that we received, and like, as the CAO mentioned, I believe these are a number of invoices over a period of time, so.
Yeah, I was just wondering why it's different than
Yeah.
last month.
Okay, perfect. Any more discussion?
Well, can I just ask a question about
Sure.
the why? With Mr. Dillon, I know there was some talk about the discrepancy, the deficiency list. Is there any movement on that?
Yes, Councillor, it's been finalised, and we are having discussions with our legal advisors. And so hopefully the winter there'll be a lot more movement once things slow down a bit now after Christmas.
Okay. All right, call for, yeah, seconded by Councillor Dyson. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carried. All right, we'll move into Councillors Forum, and I'll turn it over to Councillor Winters first.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't got much, like to leave some stuff for everybody else, but I know that just the weather is getting warmer and cooler, and driving is going to be pretty picked up pretty much now with Christmas season coming up. So just like to remind citizens to drive safe and prepare for winter driving.
Great. Thank you. Councillor Williams.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to note that myself, Councillor Dyson, and our mayor returned from Municipalities NL Conference. It was really beneficial, especially as a new councillor, to get a lot of new training and be better prepared, I think, for budget preparations that are starting tomorrow.
Thank you. Move over to Councillor Odell.
Yep, so put me on the spot and jump the fence, but that's fine. Yeah, with regards to, I guess, starts of this Christmas season, and like Councillor Winters has stated, we are a little behind on the weather, but it is coming. Roads are getting slippery. There has been a number of accidents, I guess, as people are aware, throughout the community, so just advising the community themselves to be careful, watch their speeds, drive to the conditions of the roads, and just make sure that they keep themselves safe out there and make it through this year unscathed and unharmed.
Thank you, Councillor Odell. Councillor Dyson, please.
Thank you, Mayor. A couple of things on M&L this weekend in Corner Brook. One, I was very disappointed that the motion put forward regarding the code of conduct was defeated. I think there needs to be a lot more discussion around that. I mean, we had a lot of discussion there as well. And I think the public needs to know more about how it was defeated. And I was disappointed because I didn't feel that there was enough discussion on what it encompassed, and we had that discussion in Corner Brook as well. So I think there's going to be more work on that, but I just want the public to know that, I did support the code of conduct, the motion on the code of conduct, and I was very disappointed that it was defeated. Another motion that was not defeated, that it was voted in favor of, was surrounding the electric bikes and scooters. And we've talked about this for several years and the problems that we're dealing with. There was a whole lot of discussion on that as well, and that kind of went back and forth. But in the end, it was passed, so there will be regulations developed regarding electric bikes and scooters and stuff, which is something that we deal with quite a lot. And maybe you'll talk a bit more about that as well. With regards to the Steve Ramey tournament coming up, just want to make note that the December 5th will be the teddy bear toss at the arena. They also have in the plans a scavenger hunt on December 5th as well. And worth noting is that admission into the Steve Ramey tournament is going to be donations to the Kids Eat Smart program, which is great. The only other thing I want to mention is condolences to the family of the late Sandy War, who we lost just last week. Our condolences, of course, to all of the War family. That's it for me.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Rumbold.
Thank you, Mayor. I always have something to say. I was going to say not a lot. I still have a lot to say. This is our second monthly meeting completed, our second regular monthly meeting. But however, council has been very busy meeting with community partners and organizations. So I wanted to take the opportunity to say thank you to everybody who has taken the time to meet with us and those who are scheduled yet to meet with us. We've met with representatives from Healthy Waters, YMCA, ACOA, RCMP, like there's just so many, and we really appreciate their time. We are heading into our budget process, and this is why, part of the reason why we had 15 pages of recommendations from me this evening, because we want to make sure that we have a clear picture of a balanced budget. So although it was a bit overwhelming, it's a part of getting things cleared up, so that when we go into the budget process, we can assure our residents that we're using not truthful, is that not the word I want, accurate numbers, so that we can do the best we can as we head into the budget process. So there was a call for input from the community. I really hope when we have our first budget meeting, we find out that we've got some valuable input, but just wanted to let everybody know that. Labrador Creative Arts Festival is celebrating 50 years this week, and I know that they're honoring Mr. Borlaise, who is in our community right now, and I just wanted to give them a shout out. 50 years is a big deal, and we all know that Mr. Borlaise was instrumental in making this festival such a success. Couple other things. Dee Dee Voisey was recently presented with the Peace Medal at the YMCA, and some of us from council were able to be on hand to witness her receive that medal. It was touching. She really was, she showed gratitude and she shed tears, but just wanted to let the community know how wonderful that was, and congratulations, Dee Dee, on displaying the qualities to get this Peace Medal. Town bus is on the go and very much needed as the weather gets colder. We have a lot of people who walk in our community, and we see them all through the warm weather, but when it gets cold and slippery and harder to walk, just a reminder to our residents that that town bus is a much valued necessity as the weather gets colder, so we look forward to seeing people take advantage of this service. 3 belated birthdays that I wanted to mention. Happy belated birthday to our mayor, Councillor Odell, and Councillor Dyson, who all celebrated birthdays in the month since our last meeting. So just wanted to say hey about that. And the last thing, I always hate mentioning condolences because I'm always afraid I'm going to miss somebody. But condolences, I know Councillor Dyson mentioned the War family. Also to the family of Randy Badcock and Wilbur Patey, you know, long-standing members of our community, so our condolences, I'm sure from all of council, are extended to those families. Holiday season is almost upon us. You can see lights up on the houses, and our tree lighting is going to be next week. And so just a reminder to everybody that the holiday season means giving in many different ways. I hear reports on the news all the time that food bank use is up. People are struggling. You may not be able to give donations in the same way that you used to be able to give, but this time of year, giving somebody something as simple as a thank you, a smile, a handshake and a hug goes a long way. So just to remember as we begin our holiday season that, you know, kindness is the best gift you can give. And that is it for me.
Thank you, Councillor Rumbold. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. Tonight I just want to speak a little bit on something different. Long-term care. It's been an issue for years and years and years and years. There's 25 plus patients sitting on the patient ward over there that could be in long-term or supportive living or personal care home. And I think this council should reach out and have some meetings with Newfoundland Health Services, Labrador Grenfell Health, whoever, some management. We've done it in the past, and I think it's time that we stop talking about it and try to get some action on long-term. We know there's a huge shortage in beds over there. We're hearing it from the community all the time. We know that there's residents being shipped away to Mary's Harbor, or Roddington, or St. Anthony, or Lab City. So I think this council should be more engaged. I do sit on the Community Advisory Council with Labrador Grenfell Health, but I think it's time that we schedule some meetings and have some serious discussions around expansion of long-term care. On another note, today is 1 month from Christmas. We talked about the tree lighting, which is next week, so I encourage everyone to get out for that tree lighting, 5:30 here at the Town Hall, December the 4th. December the 6th is the Santa Claus Parade, which is next Saturday. We usually get a huge turnout, my favorite time of year. Yeah, I'm encouraging everybody to get out, and I'll just leave it at there, Mayor.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Yeah, so I'll just begin. Since the last public meeting, we've had a busy month. Started off with a public safety gathering at the Lawrence O'Brien Centre on the 1st of the month. Meeting was attended by our MP and our MHA, and I think the message was clear from everybody that participated in that gathering that, you know, we've had enough. Public safety is a huge concern in our community, and we need help. And we've gotten those reassurances from our MP and our MHA. They will work closely with the town and all stakeholders to keep this issue on the forefront and work towards finding solutions to help us deal with this serious issue in our community. Both Councillor Williams and Dyson mentioned the Municipalities Newfoundland Labrador Conference in Corner Brook this past weekend, or this past week. I believe it was a very productive and engaging conference and provided an opportunity to discuss issues of importance, particularly about our community. There's a lot of talk about things coming down the pipes for this region in the next few years ahead. So there was a lot of discussion about you know, having our community and our region ready for future development and expansion. We also had discussions with Newfoundland Labrador Hydro, with the Multi-Material Stewardship Board, with ACOA and other provincial and municipal leaders. We also had a very good discussion with Premier Wakeham, where public safety was amongst the issues that we raised with him directly. The Premier gave us our reassurances and commitments that lines of communications will remain open with his office and our council and the town, and that he would work collaboratively with us on these important matters, and more in-depth meetings will be taking place as soon as they can be arranged. Also, since our last public meeting, we had good discussions with the Airport Corporation, Goose Bay Airport Corporation, Labrador North Chamber of Commerce, Healthy Waters Labrador, YMCA, and meetings are scheduled for this coming week with Five Wing Goose Bay and other partners in the near future. And so these ongoing conversations, I believe, you know, highlights the importance of all of us working together for the betterment of our community overall. I also want to touch on the electric bus charger installation. I know that there has been some issue around that and the cost of installation. You know, as part of the agreement, just to be clear, as part of the agreement with the Government of Canada for the electric bus, which included the charging unit, the town was responsible for installing that particular unit. We recognized that the installation costs were higher than anyone would have liked, and understandably it's raised some questions in the community. The tendering process was carried out twice. We went to tender twice, and at that point moving to a third tender and changing tender call and changing the scope of work would have deemed the project not practical. So it has been a challenge. I just want to, for the record, the motion last week, when we passed the motion, had the a contract in the award of $740,600. Part of that money is actually money that was left over from the project itself. The total cost to the town for the bus installation, the charging unit itself, with a rebate coming to the town, amounted to $470,000. That's for the whole kit and caboodle. That's about equivalent to the cost of a piece of heavy equipment. But, you know, having said that, the bus is here, it's being well used in our community. You know, installation has been a challenge for us, but the important thing, the bus is here, the operating costs are going to be low, and there are plans to introduce more e-vehicles into the town fleet, and this piece of infrastructure will become more valuable as we move further down the road. So it will, hopefully, it's an investment that's going to pay for itself sooner rather than later. There's no, it's offsetting based on estimates that were provided, potentially offsetting and saving the town tens of thousands of dollars alone just on fuel costs. So, you know, it's not ideal that we have to pay as much, because speaking to installations on the island, the price is much, much lower in some areas. And again, we went to tender twice, and here we are, and you know, we have to continue to move forward. Also, I just want to congratulate the organizers and participants and supporters of the Labrador Arts Festival on 50 years of celebrating youth, creativity, and community. And it's been a vital force in shaping the creative spirit of Labrador. And as a town, we're proud to support and celebrate this milestone. So with that, I will end it there, and I don't know if the CAO, do you have anything to add, CAO?
One thing, one event that we have coming up that was not mentioned here tonight is a first for us. It's a Christmas outdoor market that's taking place at Kinson Park immediately following the tree lighting next Thursday. So it runs from 6 to 8, so once you've seen the tree lit and sang some songs, head on over to the park and enjoy the magical Christmas under the lights, and enjoy our vendors, our local vendors, and support them. That's it for me.
EA, Zeddy? No? Town engineer, any comments? Anything to say?
No, I'm fine with that.
You're all
Mayor,
fine?
Thank you. I was looking at my spreadsheet anyway. I think you were talking to me.
Okay, well, we'll just end it there and call for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Councillor Compton Hobbs. Meeting adjourned.